What happens when one of the most respected young wildlife champions in the world walks into a morning TV studio, expecting a positive conversation about conservation, and instead finds himself under attack on live television? Well, buckle up, because Robert Irwin just walked off the Today Show, and what unfolded next left viewers absolutely stunned. Robert Irwin arrived that morning exactly the way everyone expected: polite, calm, and smiling. He greeted the crew backstage, thanked the producers, and stepped onto the set waving shyly to the audience as applause filled the studio. Savannah Guthrie welcomed him warmly. "Robert Irwin, everyone." Robert took his seat, folding his hands neatly, ready to talk about wildlife protection, endangered species, and his latest conservation work. This was supposed to be a feel-good segment, the kind Robert had done hundreds of times. The interview started smooth. They talked about Australia Zoo. They showed clips of rescued animals. Robert spoke passionately about habitat loss and climate impact, explaining how his team was working around the clock to protect vulnerable species. The audience loved it. Savannah nodded along. "You really carry your father's legacy beautifully." Robert smiled softly. "I just try to make him proud." Everything felt calm. Then the tone shifted. Savannah leaned forward. "So Robert, growing up in such a famous family, do you ever feel pressure living up to your dad?" Robert answered gently. "I don't see it as pressure, it's responsibility. Wildlife needs advocates." Savannah nodded, but then followed with, "But honestly, do you think you'd have this platform without your last name?" The room went quiet. Robert paused. "Well, my dad opened doors, absolutely. But I've spent my entire life studying conservation, working hands-on in the field, and building programs that make real impact." Savannah smiled tightly. "But critics say you're benefiting from his fame more than your own accomplishments." Robert shifted slightly in his chair. "I respectfully disagree. Conservation isn't about fame, it's about action." Savannah pressed. "Still, people online wonder if you're just continuing the Irwin brand. Do you ever feel trapped in that role?" Robert sat straighter. "No, this is my choice. Nobody forces me to do this." Savannah tilted her head. "But you're young. You could be doing anything. Are you sure this isn't just family expectation?" Robert's jaw tightened. "I love this work, it's my life." The audience grew silent. Savannah continued. "And what about being constantly compared to Steve Irwin? Doesn't it get exhausting living in his shadow?" Robert took a slow breath. "My father wasn't a shadow, he was a light, and I'm proud to carry that forward." Savannah didn't back off. "But let's be honest, some people say you're a softer, safer version of him." That's when everything changed. Robert froze. His expression shifted. "Excuse me." Savannah tried to clarify. "I mean, your dad was fearless, larger than life. You're more polished, more careful." Robert's voice became firm. "My father died doing what he loved. I choose to protect animals responsibly. That doesn't make me lesser." The audience gasped. Savannah attempted to pivot. "Okay, but critics argue modern zoos are just businesses. How do you respond to claims that Australia Zoo profits from captivity?" Robert leaned forward. "That's offensive. Every dollar goes back into conservation, rehabilitation, and education." Savannah raised an eyebrow. "But your family is wealthy. The zoo attracts millions. Isn't conservation good for business?" Robert's hands tightened on the chair. "Are you suggesting we exploit animals for money?" Savannah shrugged. "I'm asking what viewers wonder." Robert shook his head. "No, you're twisting dedication into greed." Savannah pushed again. "And personally, do you ever want a normal life, without cameras, without expectations. Robert looked directly at her. I am living my normal life, saving animals. Savannah smiled thinly. But don't you ever wish you were just Robert, not Steve Irwin's son? That was it. Robert stood up. Not dramatically. Calmly. Deliberately. He unclipped his microphone. I came here to talk about conservation. Instead, I've been questioned about my identity, my integrity, my family, and my father's death. Savannah looked shocked. Robert, wait. He shook his head. This stopped being respectful a long time ago. Savannah tried to recover. We're just having a conversation. Robert replied quietly. No, you're trying to create drama. The studio was frozen. Producers whispered frantically off camera. Savannah said, Robert, please sit down. Robert picked up his jacket. I won't be part of this. He turned toward the exit. Savannah called after him. This is live television. Robert stopped, turned back once and said, Then let people see what happens when someone stands up for themselves. And with that, Robert Irwin walked off the Today Show. The audience erupted into stunned murmurs. Savannah sat frozen. The cameras scrambled. Within minutes, clips flooded social media. Hashtags exploded. Fans praised Robert for his composure. Critics slammed the interview. Wildlife organizations posted support. The network released a statement hours later saying they were reviewing the segment. Australia's zoo backed Robert publicly. And Robert himself. He stayed silent. No angry posts. No interviews. Just quiet dignity. Because sometimes the strongest message isn't shouted. Sometimes it's walking away.